This is Group 15 and my name, and we would like to share our DMAIC analysis on how to cook your steak medium rare. Steak is an all-time favorite of meat lovers, and there are many restaurants providing good quality steak cut with very experienced grilling technique. But it is indeed considered as one of the most overpriced dishes, especially in Hong Kong. So some people try to cook their own steak at home, and we can easily find so much steak recipe online. For example, one tells you to use meat thermometer and measure the temperature inside to check your doneness. In some sense, time your shearing time. The picture at the center, it says you should use your finger. We know that it heavily depends on your cooking style and technique, but still these recipes have much ambiguous guideline that you may easily fail to cook an ideal steak for medium rare. So first, what is the critical data that we should collect for the analysis? Here is one example sidebook diagram showing key steps of cooking medium rare steak that we found online, and it helped us to identify those key data that we shall measure. If we refer to the flowchart at the process section, it suggests to rest the steak at room temperature for around 30 minutes before cooking, preheat the pan up to around 400 Fahrenheit, shearing 2 to 8 minutes each side, rest your steak for 2 to 8 minutes. So all this measurable data that we defined are shearing temperature, time, and internal temperature. And then we started to plan how we are going to measure them for further analysis. Here is the list of assumptions that we made for our measurement. First, the internal temperature after cooking shall be in the range of 130 to 140 Fahrenheit. Steak thickness, size, and initial temperature is considered consistent, such as 1-inch thickness, to facilitate for our measurement. Shearing time per side used for our measurement is 120 to 150 seconds, and all other minor factors like resting and extra ingredients are not considered simply because they won't affect that much on the grilling level. Lastly, this data will be measured and collected through MIT simulation program. Now I would like to invite my groupmate Lawrence to tell us about MIT simulation data measurement and also about our analysis. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Lawrence. I'm going to share about the MIT simulator for this study. This simulator is developed for science cooking based on scientific theory and applicable to cooking steak. It demonstrates the heat transfer as well as the internal temperature throughout the steak, and the thickness input and the steak initial temperature are based on our assumption. And we have 4 different sets of temperature input and 2 different sets of time input. By using MIT simulator, the steak donuts can be obtained based on the internal steak temperature. We have 32 sets of data generated by the simulator. With the contour, we know that the internal temperature at certain time and certain steak location are shown in the contour on the left-hand side, and the temperature of steak represents the doneness of a steak, and therefore the response and output can be obtained, and the data set can be used as a further analysis and create a regression for a home easier cooking scenario instead of running simulation every time. According to Chicago State University, the internal temperature of medium rare steak is around 55 to 16 Celsius degree. In terms of cooking time, the result shows that most of the 115 second case can achieve medium rare. Therefore, 115 seconds with 214 to 215 Celsius degree more suitable for medium rare steak. And by linear regression, you can find that the relationship between sharing time and sharing temperature and the steak status. Therefore, we can apply this easier method to predict the time for cooking instead of Newton's law. And then I pass the time to my teammate for the next part session.
Hi everyone, this is Derek, and thanks for my teammates' elaboration. Moving on to the improve phase. The first tool that we use is brainstorming. We identify 3 key factors: searing time, temperature, and method, and our response will be core temperature, which will affect the doneness of the steak. We assume the starting temperature to be room temperature because in a household setting. Moving on to DOE, these are the 3 factors to be manipulated, and it's also mentioned in previous slides. And our method to cook the steaks is 2 minutes aside for 2 times. First variable would be searing temperature. It ranges from 230 to 60, while the time and also method is controlled. As we can see, as the searing temperature increases, the core temperature also increases, and that's the conclusion. And one point to look that we identified, 54.4 to 60 degrees to be the range for medium rare. As for the searing time, it's controlled to be either 2 minutes or 2.5 minutes, while the temperature and method is remain constant. So we could see when the searing time increased to 150 seconds, there is a significant increment in core temperature. That temperature and searing time has a positive relationship with core temperature, but it has for us to quantify searing methods and require further study. Moving on to control phase, the major area that to focus is from supplier to process. These are the data we obtained from previous experiment, and we can see all data is lying between the upper control limit and lower control limits, which means that the experiment is executed in a very good manner. One of the control input would be steak quality, referring to position of meat, grade, and also origin, while meat size with the thickness and also dimension. Throughout the process control system, there are 3 key factors, such as the time, which should be using stopwatch to control searing time and resting time, while using a thermometer to control the meat core temperature and also searing temperature. Using good cooking utensils to make sure that the cooking method is very consistent. As a conclusion, there is a few key factors that can consider from the position of meats, thickness, cooking method, time control, temperature control. And this is the end of our 6 segment presentation. Thank you very much for your time.